It's time that we discuss what we're hoping to find out in said press conference. So rise and shout. Let's get to what's trending. Beginning with this, Jarom. And of course, this is going to involve some reviewing of what in the world just happened yesterday. And it happened live on the show, which was awesome. Just so fun.
We like that.
With the Woj bomb. Yeah, it makes our job very, very entertaining. And we addressed some of this with Tom, just how unique this whole thing was in terms of speed and money and timing, and it all came together. So, and the quality, yes. So what was the most surprising element out of all of the surprising elements yesterday from the Kevin Young hire?
It's tied for first between salary and speed. The fact that BYU ponied up what it did, Matt Norlander of CBS Sports saying 7 years, $30 million. That is $4.285 million a year. That is over 35 games, let's say, $122K a game. If Kevin Young had taken an NBA job, let's say he had gotten the Nets job at $5 million a year, probably. No playoffs, 82 games. That's $69K a year. It is more beneficial to coach in college at that number that BYU put out, apparently, than perhaps even the NBA, Doc, because now he's in the top 5 percentile of coaches in college basketball. He's top 15 in salary. Ryan Smith and BYU paid a pretty penny to get a great guy, and they crushed it yesterday. The other thing is the speed I mentioned. Took 16 days to hire Mark Pope. It took 6 to hire Kevin Young. Incredible. The ability to get that kind of guy is amazing. Before each NBA season, they do a survey of the general managers in the NBA, and they ask all these questions. And in October, they asked, who's the best assistant coach in the NBA? Kevin Young tied for second with 10% of the vote.
Wow.
Jordi Fernandez won that. He's the guy that got the Nets job, by the way. It's incredible. There are some reports that Kevin Young even turned down the Nets job.
Yeah.
I'd like to confirm that with Kevin. Like, I honestly don't even really care whether he was offered the job or not. The fact that he's been a finalist for that job and in the mix for other jobs is very impressive. The fact that he's in this survey, that stars speak glowingly about him, just impressed by a lot of that. I don't know that I can differentiate between the salary, the speed, the quality of this hire. I don't know that BYU could have done any better, Spencer.
Realistically speaking,
who could have been better than Kevin Young being hired yesterday?
Jarom, this is the equivalent of the top coordinator in the NFL being lured away from that job to come be the next head football coach at BYU. That's what we're talking about.
At the time when Gary Crowton was hired, he was the OC of the Bears. He wasn't considered the best OC in the league, but he was an OC.
This is the highest paid NBA assistant.
Yeah, incredible.
That is now at BYU. So this would be a high-level coordinator in the football world coming to take over at BYU.
He is essentially the offensive coordinator of the Suns, by the way.
Yes. This is unbelievable. Tom Homo told us that guys love him, and we're going to talk to Dwayne Rankin later in the show and ask him more about the X's and O's.
Who is
Everybody
he,
keeps talking about this,
yes.
he knows X's and O's. We're going to find out more about who Kevin Young is on this show, and then hear from the man himself tonight. But you said 6 days. Yeah, technically speaking, but if we're thinking about it and being honest, the news that Mark Pope was going to become the next head basketball coach at Kentucky didn't really start to formalize until Thursday night. So it feels like it was more like 5 days.
Okay, 5 days, even better.
Which is nuts. Yeah. So it goes official on Friday, and Tom Homo just told us, we have a succession plan in place. We don't expect to have to use it. We certainly weren't expecting to have to use it right now, but here we are.
Yeah.
And they went.
And that's for every sport, by the way.
Yes.
They have it for every sport.
They went immediately to work. So Pope gone on Friday. Then you have Saturday, and it's a Sunday at BYU. They worked through the weekend.
Everybody's working for the weekend.
Well, yeah. Atypical at a place like BYU, though, but yet you worked through the weekend. Yeah. And they were on a plane at 7:30 in the morning to Phoenix on Monday. So there were considerable conversations over the weekend, and then Tom got on a plane with who else knows, but I know that he was on that plane to Phoenix on Monday, and by the time they were coming back on Monday night, they had their guy, which is just
and it all comes out yesterday.
You think about that: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. He was basically a done deal on Monday. So 4 days in reality to lock that in.
And it's not as hard for, say, Kevin and Tom and Shane to do that. What's hard is to make sure you've got the approval of the Board of Trustees, there's a general authority conversation that needs to happen at some point. If we had more time with Tom, I would follow up with that. Did that happen already, I assume, like to be hired? The props to Salt Lake for getting that done.
Yeah.
And BYU, notoriously slow at times with certain hires. With this one, they had to be fast. It's okay to make exceptions because guess what? BYU would have lost more dudes if they had taken more time. We're seeing guys transfer to other schools right now. BYU has a chance in the next couple of days to lock in current guys, to lock in future guys because they have their guy. And how fun is it to see that BYU logo next to Kevin Young? That's the guy. That's our guy. Let's go.
And Tom Holmoe talked a little bit about this and confirmed that there was a phone call, a Zoom call with Kevin Young and the players.
Yeah.
And Richie Saunders was on that call. I don't know the details about everybody who was on that call, but Richie was very excited, which is a good sign that, hey, he could potentially be coming back.
If BYU can't keep Dallin Hall and Richie Saunders type guys, what are we doing here?
With this hire? I mean,
period. Come on. These are BYU guys.
The fact that he can reference, like, hey, Chris Paul reached out to me and he wants to meet with you guys and talk to you guys and is happy to work with you guys. Like that, if you're a BYU basketball player and you're like, I'm sorry, what?
How many other potential hires would offer that kind of opportunity?
Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Chris Paul are all in the mix here to potentially meet with us and work with us. Like, that is it's quite the draw.
Yes.
So,
and he knows Joel Embiid quite well as well.
The excitement is real. And we understand why, but I think with you, I'm just most surprised at the speed of this. And it required big money as part of the speed to
Without
make
the
it
big
happen.
money, you ain't getting Kevin Young.
Well, and
like, you had to have that part. You had to have Ryan Smith.
You got to come with that number, and you got to lock it in now because he's interviewing for the Nets head job and the Hornets head job. Like, right, it's happening right now. So we got to do it right now. They made exceptions.
It's got to be this amount.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did.
Topic 2. What do you want to hear from Kevin Young tonight in his introductory presser?
One, I just want to get a feel of his temperament because I don't know much about him. I have spent a few hours on the internet, like watching different clips of him and watching interviews about him that have subtly featured him. He's just kind of like not super in the public eye right now, and so I'm just excited to get more about his temperament, and I'm hoping to hear his plan for BYU basketball. I know it's going to be a generalization, but just to get his vision of what BYU basketball could be with him as the head coach. Like, what does he see BYU basketball becoming in year 2 of the Big 12? And will he reference what he's doing to try and keep the core in place? How much light is he going to shed into, okay, I'm on the phone with Dallin Hall and Richie Saunders and Ali Khalifa, and maybe he's trying to flip Colin Chandler back from Kentucky. Why wouldn't you shoot your shot, right? I'm hoping that we get some insight into that, but just his vision overall for BYU.
Multiple sources say he did have a call with the family last night to try and talk to him.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't he?
You should.
Yeah. I want to see what he looks like clean shaven because clearly he's going to be that. He's not going to be able to keep the beard. People, what are we talking about?
You can give the man over $4 million a year, but not a beard card.
Although his trim beard looked really good. What's the style of play? And all of us are going to pay attention to the Suns against the Timberwolves in the playoffs a little more than we would have, by the way. Minimally, he'll be with the Suns through April 28th. That's if they lose the first 4 and are swept.
By the Timberwolves, yeah.
But the max could be all the way into June if they make the finals. So this could be a process. We'll see how the Suns do in the playoffs, right? Honestly, is it bad that I'm rooting for the Timberwolves because I want Kevin Young all in down here? I want Kevin Young and the Suns to succeed, but I also want Kevin Young full on BYU here, right? How quickly will he get a staff together? Robbie McCombs, Vanquish the Foe, posted yesterday BYU is targeting Stanford assistant Brandon Dunson.
Love that.
Apparently BYU always wants a Stanford guy on the staff. How's the convo going with current players? How many new players will be in the mix? By the way, his bro Justin used to run Rivals and runs Hoop Scene.
He's all in on the
recruiting. Which is about recruiting and event coordination with some of the top high school players in the country.
Tap into that resource.
He's going to be very connected. Is Isaac Davis still a player that you want? Because when you're the head coach, you say, okay, I know the previous staff signed you, but I have to evaluate you and still see if I want you. I would hope Isaac Davis is still in the mix in Brooks Bar after a mission. We'll see, though. New head coach decides what he wants with everything.
Man, our question of the day, what do you want to hear from Coach Young? You answer that question with the hashtag BYUSN on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Let's head to break because we got stuff to do.
Okay, baseball begins 3-game series with Oklahoma starting tomorrow. You can catch the opening game at 8 Eastern on Big 12 Now on ESPN+.
Up